Hey y'all, so Belle Collective is back without Antoinette the dentist. She didn't really bring much to the table anyway. She had her storyline was a divorce from her husband, her white husband, and her being married to a white man in Mississippi, and her opening her new practice as her new beginning. But for the most part, she rode Latrice's coattail throughout the whole doggone series. So we have the opening scene with Latrice and Cliff. Latrice is cooking breakfast for her daddy, as she say, and his daughter comes in. Daddy decides to ask Latrice if she want to have any babies. She does not want to have any babies because she and her husband are too busy to have babies. Daddy, aka Cliff, was like he shouldn't have built such a big house if he'd have known that she didn't want to have any kids. So they go to the confessional, and Latrice was like, my husband needs to know if I don't want to have a baby, he's going to have to deal with it. And her husband was like, well, there's other ways to have a baby. And Latrice shades Letitia and basically says, you're going to do a Glenn, because Glenn is Letitia's husband who had a baby outside of their marriage. I thought that was kind of disrespectful, as we'll talk about later on with that high tea party. Then we move on to Letitia, who's driving up to her new office in her Porsche and her red bottoms, only to find out that she's living at home with her mom because her and her husband Glenn has separated. She's still upset that he had a baby outside the marriage. She says she knew about the affair, but she didn't know about the baby. And I could believe that because, the wife is always the last to know. Then we go on to um, Letitia, she's talking about how she wants to create, you know, I think 10 more streams of income. She still wants to revitalize Ferris Street. But in the meantime, she's working on building her empire. She said her business is booming, but her personal life is, not that great. After her husband Glenn proposed to her on last season, she found out that he was still texting other women. And she ain't cool with that. Glenn comes to pick up the son, Josh. He looks at Letitia and says how he can't believe that they are separated and how he's picking up his son from her mother's house. So Glenn and the son leaves and Letitia breaks down crying. Um, Basically she says she's crying because she don't want her son to be hurt. Um, is it me or do anybody else have questions about that big fabulous house that they had? Like, why does she have to live with her mother? But anyway, I could kind of understand, she's starting a business, cutting back on expenses, moving in with her mother. But is Glenn still at the house? But anyway, we'll figure all that out throughout the season, I'm assuming. Then we move on to Marie. Marie's, she's talking about her businesses. She bigging herself up. She says she gonna brag on that shit, and I don't blame her. That's hard work, open up businesses or whatever. She decided to go blonde. She said it's the rebirth of herself. She said blondes have more fun, so she's now Marie Monroe. Okay, you go, Marie. So they show her at her computer. She has a computer on her desk this season, but that's just me making observations. Never mind. Anyway, she clears up that her and her business partner Essie are not lesbians and that she's pretty much strictly dickly. Okay, she's still talking about Cedric and how their relationship ain't work and she just walked away. I ain't understand that marriage anyway, but it didn't make sense last season, and I don't know why she's still talking about it. But okay, um, she decides to let her mom move in, who's a drug addict. She also has her son and I'm assuming her other two kids and daughter. She says she has a full house. She feel like her mother's trying to make up for lost time, but her father raised her. I don't know how that's going to work out when you dealing with a drug addict, but I'm not too experienced on drug addiction, so we'll see how that plays out throughout the season. Then we found out that one of her son's baby mother was murdered, and I don't know if it was a drive-by. Well, I'm assuming that it was a drive-by, and that the mother was killed, but the son was okay. So she said the car was so shot up that she's surprised that her grandson didn't get hurt. So she said, he The angels was looking over him, and I believe that for sure. So Jerez picks up his son, and he said he realizes the responsibility that he has to take on, and that he needs his mother's help. And Marie says she got him, and the son was so cute. As they have in their serious conversation, he farts. Anyway, we move on to Tamara or Tambara. They show her back with her crazy talk. Her voice is kind of annoying. And she's minus that pink lipstick. She found some lipstick that was more appealing to her, but they really didn't show much. They showed that she has a T and that she's still working at the radio station. Um, then we go back to Letitia, who has a friend that's meeting her at the office named Tasha. I guess Tasha is a interior designer. I'm not sure, or she helps her out with her parties, or a decorator. I'm not sure what Tasha does. Um, they have been friends for over 20 years, and Tisha's having an event. She says she's going to invite the girls. She's definitely going to invite Marie. And when she mentions that she's going to invite Tambra, Tasha makes a face, and Letitia wants to know why, what's going on. I said, it sounds like some hurt woman shit up in here. But anyway, they go to Tambra and Desmond back together. They go to the doctor. They're going to a follow-up visit to Tambra's doctor after her fibroid surgery um, to see if she could have babies. Then they scan back, building the story. They scan back to Letitia and Tasha, talking about how she was dating this guy named Greedy. But Letitia didn't know that Greedy was actually Desmond. So I don't know why she's mad at Tamara, because Tamara really has nothing to do with it. It's him that left her to be with Tamara. But whatever. Women have to stop doing that. Anyway, we go back to Tamara and Desmond at the office, talking about fertility. She's willing to have kids now that he's talking about being married. And come to find out, the whole time she's been with this guy, they've been using protection. And it's nothing wrong with that. She didn't want to get pregnant, but now that she's trying to have a baby, things are happening. Anyway, Tasha spills the tea to Letitia that Greedy is Desmond and he's with Tambra. So that's going to be a storyline throughout this show. We're going to see how that plays out. Not Letitia, all these L's. Latrice is having a high tea fashion show. I call it / alcohol tea, okay? At her house. She said she needed a breather because her husband keeps talking about having a baby. She really didn't want to talk about that. Her friend Melanie shows up. She invited Gucci, the real estate agent who's married to Sanjay and Star's daddy from DD4L. They talk about, let's talk about the people coming into the high tea party, okay? So Tamara comes with a fur coat. Letitia comes with this heavy, I don't know if it was a fur coat or, a teddy bear coat. I couldn't quite make it out. But is it Mississippi hot? I mean, how cold do it get in Mississippi? But anyway, that was just my questions, okay? Latrice said she's inviting Letitia because she wants Letitia to know that she's here for her and that she wants to be supportive, but I couldn't tell from her confessional, shade and glance. Anyway, Marie was not invited because Latrice feels like Marie thinks she put out there that she was doing Medicaid fraud, but she said she would never do that. I don't think those two will ever get along. They're like oil and vinegar. And I feel like they're in competition with their hair products or whatever. But this is part of the problem with, I don't want to say black women. Fuck it. Black women. We shouldn't be in competition. We should be working together with each other. Okay? A healthy competition is good, but all this putting down each other is some bull. Anyway, Tamra starts to discuss how her and Desmond are together, and she wants to have a baby, but he has to put that ring on her finger or whatever. So Letitia starts to question her about, so are y'all really a couple? Um, is he saying that he wants to be with you and you only, and he wants to marry you and have a kid? So Tamara in her confession was like, she's pretty sure she know that Desmond is the only one that he wants to be with. Girl, I said, child, everybody about to come out the woodworks because you done made that statement. Then we have the closing scene where we have Glenn coming into Letitia's office, bringing flowers. He really wants his marriage back. He's fighting for his marriage. But Letitia is having issues. She needs to know if this child is really his. I mean, after 8 years, y'all ain't find that out, but that's just me. That's just me. 8 years, you ain't find out if that's really his child? Or did you just find out last year at the reunion that he had a child? Child, we got to figure all of this out. So, I don't know. Glenn, like, I don't understand these dudes. Like, y'all break trust with these women, but y'all want these women to come back and be all okay with the shit y'all did. And it's just crazy to me. So I'm interested to see how this season is going to play out. I'm glad they're back. I actually like their show. I really hope they show more of the women with the business side of what they're trying to do. But you know they got to bring a little bit of the drama. That's how it go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And come down in the comment section. Let's have a discussion about what happened on this first episode of season 2. Thanks again for watching. Peace.